on my video right now because of the streaming and those issues. Maybe later on I try to on the video. Maybe if I'm not good looking, also maybe I can show your face, my face also. Okay. So very much enthusiastically, I would like to mention that it's a very much good effort because already we have also completed one of the FGP courses in our Jadavpur University recently, and also the thing is that I am not very well today also, but don't mind because I will try to means try to give my level best to show you some of the research works that we are presently working on. And to be very frank, that today is actually the Jadavpur birthday of Jadavpur University. So I will like to dedicate this talk for the for our university only. So I would like to share my slide also. If let's just check that whether it's working fine or not. Um, oh no, it's not showing in that mode also. Okay. It's not showing. I don't know why. I should stop it and then I should. Okay, let me check. No, it's not. It's not showing anything. I don't know why. Is there any problem of doing that? Or I should allow the enter screen, I guess. Can you see my screen or not?
Yes, sir.
The
Yes, sir.
screen,
Yes,
Yes.
is it okay?
yes.
Okay, so just check that my slides are moving or not. Yes. Is it
Yeah,
in
please.
presentation mode or should I
Yeah,
go?
please open the PPTs.
Okay,
We
so
can see the screen, but PPT is not yet.
okay, then I should check because it's not the right way to do that. I have opened the PPT, but it is not showing. I don't know why. Uh,
Are
okay,
you
now it's
opening
coming.
so many
Yeah,
windows?
it's coming. Just a minute. It's coming.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So thank you. So actually, we in our university used to teach the NLP and machine learning, deep learning, text analytics. Especially, I used to teach BTech machine learning courses over there, and master's courses, text analytics and NLP also. So there are a lot of students in this seminar or in this under me also as a supervisor. I'm trying to complete, but they are working also. So the mostly speaking in these cases, the thing is that always we are trying to deal with the NLP. NLP is becoming more difficult. The reason is that the advent of the NLP is coming to our hand is much more in a granular fashion. And even with the advent of deep learning also, it's becoming too much difficult. Why? There are some important insights of that things are there because always we are trying to hunt the semantics, but it is difficult to be captured from the data. That's why people in the recent trends have tried to identify the semantics in terms of extracting information. And my today's topic is totally focusing on the information extraction area. It is the one of the important area of natural language processing, even in case of information retrieval or search engines also. So why we first the question is that why we are very much interested in extracting information and why it is much more difficult and why it is important also. In context to that, if we go beyond also that the medical information extraction is a very bit challenging. The thing is that always we are concerned about our health issues. During this COVID situations, we have seen that how much we are dependent on the medical related issues, and we are so concerned about that because of our health, our sustainability also. So in order to do that, this information extraction is becoming more important and challenging also. So in this regard, today we'd like to highlight only two main aspects of the information extraction that we are presently working on. One of the aspects is on information extraction and to build some kind of a recommendation system. And this is the first attempt that we have made in our lab so far with a PhD thesis, that how to build the recommendation system, medical recommendation system, how to process the text and how to provide such kind of recommendations for our users. And another is the healthcare assistant, or more or less it's called a healthcare chatbot. But there are a lot of people who are actually working in this domain, but our domain is something different in the sense that we are trying to extract all the information from the text. And this healthcare chatbot is a part of our DST project, which is considering different domains like railway, healthcare, and legal. But here we are trying to develop the modules for the healthcare people. And in order to motivate you more on the medical recommendation system, so we'd like to introduce with some aspects of NLP, because we know that in text processing, information extraction is one of the interesting challenge in there, where the data or the text are actually unstructured in nature, because all of the social contents, all of the web contents that we are dealing with in each of the day, all are unstructured in nature. So what is our motivation? Our motivation is to extract some kind of structured insights from the unstructured data. So there are other related domains also related to NLP, that are question answering domain, where we used to deal with questions and answers to the users, where our chatbot is much more focused on that kind of a question answering system. So these are the core areas of NLP where we try to contribute a bit. There are other areas where we have done a bit work on the sentiment analysis, that if a given text or piece of text is given, that whether it's a positive or negative or not. Then information retrieval or search engine aspects are there. Then machine translation is another area. And also we are trying to look for some people who can also translate the resources to other languages also. So there are a lot of domains are there, but information extraction and question answering are the more important in point of view in the recent trends. If we look at the recent trends and their applications, so these areas are becoming much more popular because of their accessibility, because of the huge amount of data processing technologies are being available now, and how to process that information, how to get the insights of the information, that is much easier nowadays. So if we
Okay.
just consider,
Can you
yes,
please share the screen presentation in full screen mode?
yes, it is
We are
in.
still in the first slide, right?
No, I am in the fifth slide. Is it not moving?
Okay. No, it is not moving.
Oh,
Yeah, can you please make the slides in the presentation mode?
yes, I am doing that, but why it is not moving? I don't know.
Slideshow, and then from the slideshow, and then
Not moving. It is not moving.
now it is in the slide number 5,
No, no, it is
introduction.
not moving. I am trying to move it. It is not moving.
It is not moving.
Oh my God. Just a minute.
Okay, now it is NLP and IE.
IE. So I was there in these cases.
Okay.
It was there. So may I go for this presentation, or it will be difficult for you to visualize? I think I can make the whole full screen now.
Yes, please make full screen.
Full screen, I guess.
Slideshow full screen.
Is it now okay, right?
Yes.
And it's moving also, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Sorry for the interruption. So we are talking about the text processing technologies and the NLP technologies, where the information extraction and question answering are the most important part of it. And other areas we know that the sentiment analysis, information retrieval, and then machine translation is obviously some other aspects of NLP. But information extraction and question answering are becoming so popular because of the availability of the uh, data, even the social data, and a lot of conversations we are doing each and every day. So, how to extract important information, because we do not want to lose any information. Because once we are sharing in the web, that means there is some information that is there that we have to capture, and that is the motivation of the AI engines also. And then if we conceptualize also, there are different reports are there, reports in terms of different varieties of images, x-ray reports, prescriptions, medical reports, diagnosis reports. So a lot of reports are there. So in case of medical information extraction, our task is to prepare some kind of a documentations over there, and how to pre-process those documents and to convert it into some kind of a textual format. Even there are different modules like segmentation, spell corrections, all things are there, but we want to represent them in terms of the documents first. Then from the documents itself, we try to extract some kind of a features. So features can be possible at the word level, or maybe can be possible from the sentence level features. So this level is something different, that in what mode or what level we want to process the information. If the text is present in terms of the documents, we can either process through at the word level, or we can process it sentence level. So what level? Sentence level. Whatever processing will do, finally we want to discover something. So information extraction is actually, we want to discover the insights of the data, and this can be done into different ways. Maybe in is a kind of unsupervised way. That means we can take the help of any kind of a medical dictionary. We can take the help of the machine learning methods, like the available machine learning and deep learning technologies that we can take into account. Another thing is that we can take the hybrid approaches also, means both the lexicon or dictionary based approach and supervised approach, as well as the means supervised approach also. So what this approach will do, this approach will classify the document, or to labeling the document, labeling in terms of the medical concept, which is very important. Because in the text, in the medical context, always our motivation is to tag some kind of a concept, because medical entities or medical the terms or the words are very difficult to be classified into a particular category. The challenge is that we cannot say that this medical term should be classified into this category. Only the experts can say, or the doctors or the medical practitioners can say. But is there any way that we can deal to classify them? Yes, there are some ways, and up to a level we can do that. And this is our objective, is to classify the medical documents based on the medical concepts or medical categories. And here we also, our intention is to provide some kind of a deliverable interface. The thing is that till now, whatever the technologies are have been developed till date, all are in the research stage, and most of the resources have been developed, they are being used in their in-house manner. So our objective is to make it public, so that people can use it, people can send them the feedback, and we can upgrade the systems accordingly. For that purpose, we have tried to prepare some kind of an interface on that, so that people can interact with the system. And for that purpose, we had to prepare some kind of a labeled data, or the labeled resources also, which are not mainly, the resources are already available. Some of the resources we have taken from the existing ones, and some resources we have prepared by ourselves, and we have merged all of the resources to prepare this kind of a system. So medical concept identification is very much challenging, because all the words entities are very challenging. We cannot classify it in some fixed category. It is very difficult. So another part is that information extraction. is also to extract the unstructured documents, because all when we used to talk about the IE or information extraction, that means we have to deal with some unstructured data or semi-structured data. Semi-structured in terms of that either it is not totally a database kind of a thing. All the data are available either in a kind of a raw text, or maybe kind of a blog, maybe kind of a news article, maybe kind of a Twitter article, whatever. But we have to extract that information, because the internet users are being increased day by day, and data are being also increased, but less developments are there in terms of medical domain. So our objective is to produce some kind of a deliverable product to the medical domain. And there our different areas like name entity recognition, co-reference, relationship, terminology extraction, all of those areas are also being engaged in this domain in recent trends. And in COVID situations, we have found that a lot of people are trying to build such kind of a systems, I mean medical annotation system or medical category identification system also, because not only to process the social text, even to process the other kind of medical documents also, it may help. Because we know that how to do that. There are different NLP technologies are actually helpful in this regard. NLP existing technologies like name entity recognition, dependency parsing, then co-reference resolutions, then the pre-processing stages like syntactic processing, like tokenization, part of speech tagging, chunking, negation handling. These sort of pre-processing applications are also involved in order to produce a very good kind of a healthcare system. So clinical IE or clinical healthcare, what we are planning to do here is that whatever the documents are there as an input, like X-ray report, pathology report, any kind of a documents are there, we try to make a kind of a text format for that. We try to convert all of the reports into textual format, and from there we try to identify the medical events. So there is a distinction between the medical events, because the people in literature also used to mention the medical events in terms of DNA structure, RNA structure. Those people who used to work in the biomedical domain, NLP also, even biomedical domain also, they used to utter the biomedical even in different orientation. Here we have considered this orientation in a different way. Here we are trying to identify some kind of a medical entities that are either maybe a disease, or maybe a symptom, maybe a drug, maybe a kind of a medical terms or terminology that people used to utter. Another point is that there are a lot of non-medical terms exist along with the medical terms. So it is very difficult to distinguish between the non-medical and medical terms in terms of the lexical scoping. Like in a sentence, if I will write a very big sentence, even in report, medical reports especially, they used to write a very big sentence, and it is very difficult to segregate the non-medical counterparts from the medical parts. So those kind of challenges are there in terms of processing the or text processing of this kind of a text. And another important point is that the identifications of the relations, because even if we tag the medical entities in terms of a sentence, suppose a sentence is given and
मैं ये वाला ही है ना वो ये वाला बिग
ये
बात
कौन कौन आया देखने दो भाई, सब म्यूट है ऐड
hello.
Oh, yes. Please,
Okay. So
please go.
yeah, okay. So if there are means lot of medical terms, even if we identify from the sentence context also, but is it possible to identify some kind of relations between those medical concepts? So those relationship is also being established by this engine. So I will show one by one. And there are a lot of structured corpus available, means not lot, a very few actually. PubMed, Clinical eScience Framework, a very small cases of POS tagger like Genia tagger is available. So in that respect, the development is not that much in that sense in terms of text processing. So we have tried to make it more robust. So the corpus or the documents that we have considered for building the systems are the clinical reports, pathology report, radiology report, and prescription. So mostly, if the prescriptions are digitally written, then only we could take, because the OCR and those processing of those images are as a different challenge. You know, this is a part of the image processing task. So we have not encountered all those parts because those other people can look after this method to convert from the prescriptions, means handwritten prescriptions to digital prescriptions. But if the digital prescriptions are available in the hospitals, because nowadays we have seen that doctors are used to prescribe in the digital form, even by using their laptop or desktop. So we could collect those kind of digital prescriptions from them. Pathology report and radiology report could be gathered very easily, and all of these reports are in text format. So our task is to build some kind of a pre-processing beforehand, and then the challenges are there. Like the challenges that we have mentioned is the text span identification. Like if we want to identify some kind of a medical concept inside a text span, so how much we should consider? One word, two word, three word, maybe. I will show you some examples that you can see that the three words make something different, one word is something different, and two words may give something different. So multi-word concept means if there are multi-word components are there, it is very difficult to identify that which should be a particular medical term or medical entity. It is very difficult to identify the textual span of the medical terms. So this is one of the challenging issues, that whether we should consider for a unigram or bigram or trigram kind of a model or 5 gram, it is very difficult to guess at the prior. Like here, a chronic cough is more than just an annoyance. So chronic cough is a kind of a multi-word concept. Even chronic itself is a kind of a medical term, and cough itself is a medical term. So chronic cough individually is a concept also. So that's why we are trying to mention the medical entities or the combined or multi-word medical entities as the means concept, medical concept, rather than a word or phrase. And another important issue is that isolations of the medical concepts from the non-medical concepts. That in a text corpus, how we can segregate the medical concepts apart from the non-medical counterparts, because they are very much overlapped in the text span. So we should go for some ideal methodology to segregate the non-medical counterparts from the medical counterparts. Here also some example is there, and there are some kind of abbreviations are also there. So it's very difficult, like in case of drugs especially, we have found a lot of abbreviations are there. So it is very difficult to process those kind of abbreviated drugs and to segregate or separate it out from the medical counterparts also. Then to build the medical concept or to make some kind of a hierarchy tree or taxonomy, you can say, it is very difficult. The categorizations of the medical concept or the classification of the medical concept is a tedious job, because only doctors can say that, okay, this disease should be of this category or this symptom should be of this category. But even there are a lot of symptoms that are associated with a particular disease, or there are maybe a lot of diseases that are particularly has a similar symptoms, like a single symptom. So it's very difficult to disambiguate the disease symptoms and even sometimes the drugs also. So disambiguations of the classes of the medical entities is itself a challenging area. And sometimes, like here an example, like signs and symptoms of pneumonia including fever, chills, cough, shortness of breath and fatigue, where the fever may be presented as a symptom as well as the disease also. So when the fever will be treated as a disease and when the fever will be treated as a symptom, that is a very difficult issue to be handled during text processing. And the another important point is that relationship that we are trying to mention is that even the medical concept we have identified what will be their categories also, but is it possible to extract some kind of a relationship between the medical categories, medical entities? Because this will help to build some kind of a concept network, which will help the practitioners in region that to take some kind of a good decisions about the disease, to good decisions about some kind of a remedial measures also. So this relationship of medical entities is also another aspects of that. And this relationship should include some kind of a co-referencing techniques, because otherwise fine-grained relationships may not work well, in that sense that there may be a kind of a codes. I will show you that what do you mean by codes grained, like disease or symptom relations are there, but whether is there any kind of a relation is possible between two diseases or two symptoms, that is a very challenging issue, and we're also dealing with that particular challenge also. Okay, so motivation is like that. If there are a lot of unstructured documents are there, and in terms of anything, so our main objective is to prepare some kind of a structured data out of that first motivation. Here we can use some kind of a structured information in terms of XML or YML, or in this what is the format of the recent trends also. We can prepare this documents first from the unstructured one to the structured one. Then from the structured document, our first task is to be our ultimate task is to preparing some kind of a relationship extraction system. If there are more than one medical entities are there, so what will be their relationship between them in a context? So context is a very important information here. So how much context we should consider? Here we have considered the concept of only a sentence level, that if there are sentence or maybe up to a comma separated text, we have considered that is our lexical scope for identifying the medical concept. And another from the relationship extraction system, whether we can build some kind of a medical concept network or not. So this medical concept network will help us to give more insights about the diseases related to a particular symptom or shared with a particular symptoms, or maybe we can identify the symptoms which are being shared by different diseases. So a lot of associations are there between those medical entities. And finally, we try to build some kind of a recommendation system, whether if the user will give some kind of a, or ask to identify what will be the related diseases, if these symptoms are happen, then we could give the answer to them. Okay, if you have this symptoms, then you can you may have some kind of a disease like that. So it is not a kind of a prescriptions that we are generating. To be very frank, we are not trying to replace the doctors itself. The point is that we are trying to help the medical practitioners, because using these systems, by employing these systems, we are trying to help the medical practitioners to take some decision or take some immediate decisions on some urgent basis. And obviously, as the output, we will have a annotated data or tagged corpus in that sense. The overall objective is that if there are some kind of expert is there, and uh, another end we are the non-expert or we are the patient are there, so the between the doctors and the patients, only the shared things are the prescriptions, report, or messages. So all of these contexts are unstructured in nature. So our motivation is to prepare some kind of a structured data out of that first task. Then uh, we need to build some kind of a medical annotation system. We have called this a MAS system, because that we need to identify the medical concept, we need to categorize or classify the medical concept, as well as we have to identify the relationships or relations between the medical concept. And then uh, based on those information, whether we can prepare some kind of a recommendation system. So recommendation systems should produce some kind of a guidelines, but this should be validated by the doctor. So validation should be made by the doctor, because we cannot replace the doctor, because doctor who, as a human being, who knows much better than a system always. So whatever the system generated guidelines will be there, we can suggest to a patient, that should be validated by a doctor beforehand. So up to this point, is there any kind of a confusions for identifying the objectives, overall objectives of the medical recommendation system? Hello, is
Sir,
it
good
okay?
evening, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Sir, if there are any overlapping in symptoms regarding multiple diseases, then
Yes.
how can we build the relationship between the drugs as well as disease?
Okay, I will show you in the next few slides. I will show you that if there are multiple diseases that have the common symptoms, or maybe the common disease means multiple symptoms with a common disease. So how we are trying to handle that also. We'll show in the recommendation part. Apart from that, is there any other confusion or query how we are trying to build such kind of a system?
So recommendation system in the sense it will recommend any medic- medicines to the patient regarding
Any?
whatever he suffered from any kind of disease.
Yes. If a patient suffers from any kind of a disease, or maybe he or she has any kind of a symptoms, so at least he or she will get an information that okay, if there are similar symptoms are there, so you may have this diseases. So and you can prescribe means these are the drugs related to this disease. These are the drugs related to that disease, and if there is some kind of a common similarity between the means symptoms also, so this is very high to recommend that you might have this kind of a problem. Or maybe in sometimes there are two different aspects actually we'll deal with that. So there are like common diseases and common symptoms which user can specify, or otherwise users can specify only a single disease or single symptoms. System will suggest that you might have this many diseases or this many symptoms, and then if user may focus more, then it will be again retrained and it will give you the focus answer, much more focus answer based on the concept network.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir,
So
here recommendation system is going to be prompt about any symptoms information from the patient.
yes, patient from the patient itself, even also from the system point also you can give the information also.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So I will show one by one. So overall, in order to build such kind of a system, so three things we actually needed. One is the resources, because without resources or any kind of a medical dictionary or lexicon, it was very difficult for us to start with. So in order to start with, we have tried to we search so many things that where to start to build such kind of a system. So whatever the data set we have identified at that time, and maybe today a lot more data are available. So we are trying to build our own resources, medical resources for that. One is the first version we have published is that WME, which is the full form is WordNet for medical event, which is 1.0. Then we revised that version in 2.0, and then the final one is 3.0. So these resources we have made so far as part of the lexicon and dictionary preparation part. Then in order to build the system, there are three different modules we had to develop. One is the concept identification module, another is category assignment module, and another is relations extraction module. So these are the three core modules that we had to develop, and based on the dictionary or lexicon and these three modules, we were trying to build the recommendation system finally. So if we start from the medical lexicon or research preparation method, so fundamental objectives were to extract some kind of a medical words, medical ontology, medical related terms. But the innovative things that we have contributed here is that of the ground from the sentiment point of view. What is that? Suppose in each of the piece of text we have seen that some of the words, some of the phrases are much more related with sentiment. So if we can identify the sentiment of a particular context, even if we can identify the sentiment of the terms that are closely associated with the medical entities, that may help to disambiguate the senses of the medical terms. And in this way, if we go, then it can be very helpful to cluster the medical terms that are being shared with a common sense or common, in a case of word sense disambiguation. The same principle we have tried to apply here in terms of disambiguating the medical entities. if the medical entities are having a some kind of a common sense, then we are trying to extract them by some kind of a two measures. One is called some kind of a affinity measures and another is called the gravity measures. So these principles we are working for a few years, and we have found that this kind of a hypothesis is very much good in terms of extracting the important insights from the data. Even the syntactic features or the semantic features, whatever we can could identify, the semantic features can be easily captured by these two types of scoring techniques, that is affinity and gravity based scoring techniques. And if we can spot them in terms of medical concept, then
లేదు నేను ఇప్పుడు చూసాను నిలబోతా అంటే
okay.
నేను ఫస్ట్
So
నుంచి ఇది వచ్చాను.
Excuse me,
fast
Sindhukuri, please mute your mic. Sindhukuri, please mute your mic.
So first version, actually a total number of medical concepts were only 6415. A very few medical concepts were there we are trying to extract, and then we have tried to extract their part of speech also, like how many medical entities are nouns, how many are verbs, adjectives, and so on. And nouns and verbs, the numbers are too high rather than the adjective, because it is very difficult to get an adjective medical concept, but somehow there were some of the entries also. And regarding the word sense disambiguation, or maybe the sense disambiguations of the medical entities, we took the help of the gloss. Gloss, if you know the gloss is a kind of a textual descriptions that are available in case of our dictionary. So if we just go for our means casual dictionary also, there may be some kind of a descriptions, textual descriptions are available with respect to a particular word. And even in the medical dictionary, in case of WordNet also, some kind of a gloss information were available. That's some kind of a descriptive information. And the two things that we have considered is the polarity score and sentiment score. That means to tag the medical entities into positive and or negative based on their gloss information. So gloss or the textual descriptions actually helped us a lot to disambiguate the medical entities, or to the identification of the medical entities from the non-medical counterparts also. So some basic statistics that we gathered from the data set, that how many number of events were there, because we considered three different data set. That is, one is available in the CENIVAL as a competition. We took the help of the WordNet. We took help of the medical dictionary, which is available offline medical dictionary, and we took the help of these three resources to build some kind of a lexicon at the first time, means WME 1.0. And there we identified their different synonyms, we have clustered them, and a lot of information we gathered. So gloss identification, in case of gloss identification or sense disambiguation based on the gloss information, we have identified a very good interesting insight, that suppose there is a medical concept like abdominal pain. So we could differentiate those in terms of the sense, actually medical term and sense disambiguation. So here's some kind of slides is not coming. Okay, maybe suppose for the abdominal pain, two types of glosses we received. So first gloss and second gloss, and by only matching the words, it is easy that which gloss should be of related to this concept. But if we look it carefully, that we could see that sometimes the gloss 2 also can be a part of that, and how to identify that the sense wise, that which one should be a correct gloss for that. In order to do that, we have taken two different approaches. One is called sequential approach, another is called combined approach. That is nothing but this approach, that sequential approach, we have passed the medical means the context into different modules, sub-modules. Like first, like if a medical concept is there, that is activity or something, that, and we have marked them in different piece of context, and if it is positive in some kind of our database, if it is positive, then we have passed it to some WordNet. If it is positive there, even we have passed it to the dictionary context, if it is positive there, then we have identified, okay, this medical concept of some positive category, because we couldn't rely on a single resource to assign the sentiment for that particular medical entity. For that purpose, we have passed those medical entities along through some 1, 2, 3 resources and checked whether all of the resources are giving the same result or not. If they are giving the same result, we could disambiguate, otherwise not. The same principle in case of combined approach is that we have passed those entities into three different modules, and if all of them actually said yes, then we identified this as a medical event, otherwise not. So in this sense disambiguation method, means in based on the sentiment way, we could differentiate the medical entities, that what are their polarity scores of those medical entities or medical terms also. So some kind of a sample output is there here, like you can see here that in this version there are some kind of a medical concept is there, and we have identified some of the properties over there, that is what type of part of speech category, what is their actual gloss, because to select the actual gloss from the dictionary itself is a challenging issue, and we took the help of the sentiment for identifying a particular gloss. And then we have identified the polarity score also, and finally we have identified some kind of a sentiment associated with that kind of a particular medical term. Then we have observed that okay, this too few, means 6415 is a too few medical terms. So for that purpose, our objective was to enhance the lexicon as much as possible. So in that case, when we tried to extract more medical entities from the internet, from the social web, from the other medical resources also, we have observed that it is very tedious job to disambiguate the senses, even if we have 6415 of medical entities, because for each of the medical context we had to take the either the manual consent or some different approach we have to consider. For that purpose, we thought a interesting means idea, which is based on the kind of a sharing method in terms of the affinity and gravity. The concept of affinity and gravity is too much popular in terms of physics and other theories also. Affinity is very much popular in case of sentiment scoring also, but gravity is, we have taken the concept from the physics, that we are trying to disambiguate the medical concept from their own counterparts and from their context counterpart. So if we want to disambiguate the medical entities from the context counterpart, then gravity score will be influential. Otherwise, if we want to identify the medical entity itself, then we could consider the affinity score. So just for an example, that these both are, means affinity and gravity, both we have considered to disambiguate the medical entities, are of sentiment based features. And how to extract those scores? Let's take an example, that affinity score. So affinity score is actually the linking between a pair of medical concepts. So if the two pair of medical concepts share some kind of a similar sentiment words, then we should link them and we should form the concept cluster. So if it is a kind of a probabilistic count that we have associated with each of the medical concept. Like we have identified their synonymous sets of the medical concept 1, synonymous sets of the medical concept 2, and if a common synonyms are available between two medical concepts, we call them as our affinity score. Affinity means these two medical concepts shares a common sense, that means there is some common link is present between these two medical concepts. So this hypothesis actually helped us a lot. If two medical concepts share at least one kind of a sense in the WordNet medical event or WordNet, or even any kind of a medical any kind of a lexicon, then we should say that these medical entities are related, at least with respect to some one sense. So based on that, we have tried to calculate their scores also. Scores is nothing but the average of their affinity score divided by the total number of senses possible for the concept 1 and concept 2. So this score is very much useful to disambiguate the medical entities from each other. Like here, suppose the first medical concept here is the abdominal breathing, yes, and hyponia. So here hypopnea is, there are four number of synonyms are there, and here four number of synonyms are there, but common synonyms are only means four: breathing, respiration, ventilation, external respiration. So if these four common synonyms out of eight the total synonyms are there, so its affinity score is 0.5. Similarly, abdominal breathing and wheeze, these two concepts actually it has breathing, abdominal breathing has its own synonyms of 4 and wheeze had its own synonyms of 8, but their common synonyms are only 3. So its affinity score is 0.25. So in this way we are trying to disambiguate the entities from each other. And another important aspect is that because we could segregate the entities, but in the context, if they are present in case of any gloss or any context, how to identify which one is a good concept for them, or sorry, context for them. So in order to do that, we took the help of the gravity score. What is the gravity score? Gravity score is nothing but the polarity score of the individual words of the medical context. So here also first we consider the polarity score of each word in the glosses and is denoted as the polarity GC. And secondly, we calculate the gravity score for each medical concept that aims to determine the sentiment relations with the gloss. And the overall gravity score we have given to that context. Here gravity score is given with that context is the gravity score of the all words, means all of the medical words, whatever the total gravity, this will be assigned as a gravity score. So like here the medical concept sickness, the polarity is associated, and for different medical lexicon we have identified different types of polarity scores. So finally we have assigned with the kind of a gravity score of this much, and which and for this gloss is being associated for that particular medical context, because this gravity score is high for, or maybe this gravity score is itself relevant for this gloss, or this gloss is much more relevant with respect to this gravity score. So in this way we could associate the gloss with that particular medical concept. So our motivation was there because whatever the new medical entities were coming into the picture, into our hand, those entries were not present in any kind of a medical existing medical lexicon, even offline also, even handwritten medical dictionaries also. So our objective was to is to put in into our existing WME or lexicon and to associate some kind of a gloss or features along with that. So in order to do that, we tried to identify the gloss based on this theory, means based on the gravity theory. We have tried to identify that what are the related gloss that are possible for the new upcoming entries. And for the new upcoming medical entities, we have tried to disambiguate those means glosses, and we have identified the most appropriate gloss for that new upcoming medical entry. So in this way, we have tried to build an enhanced version of our lexicon, that is WME2. Here you can see that polarity score along with that affinity and gravity score is also appended here. And in this way, we could achieve a very high amount of entries, medical entities or entries. And then also we have identified the, okay, maybe it is of means this much, means 10,000 in our WME 3.0. Here only the modification that we build is that category, because in WME2 there no category information was mentioned, and during this course also we could identify some kind of a data set, and we could identify build some kind of a medical annotation system also. So based on the system we could identify the category of the medical concept also. So this category information also has been appended in WME 3.0. And in this way we could prepare some kind of lexical resources, and also we explored with some kind of existing sentiment lexicons like SentiNet, Bingley's list, Taboda's adjective list. Lot of sentiment resources we have engaged in our lexical resources to give more insights on the data, and now it is much more established resource in terms of medical entities. And Then category assignment, I will during that course we have identified that 4 categories, mainly disease, symptoms, drugs, and human anatomy, are much more frequent rather than the other categories, because it was very difficult for us as a novice, means not an expert, to classify or segregate the medical concepts. We took the help of the doctors to uh, guide us to decide that which medical entity should be of which category, and in that way they have advised us to make a first simple approach, is that to go for some kind of a four basic classes, like disease, symptoms, drugs, and human anatomy, and keep all the miscellaneous group into one category, that is of miscellaneous medical terms. Further, if the system will run good, then you can further you can segregate those medical terms based on some hypothesis also. So up to this point we have means covered up to this four classes only, and these are the overall progress of the 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. There are a lot of unigrams, bigrams, and trigram entities are there, medical entities are there. They are part of speech tag wise. This is very well established resource, and there are some kind of a gravity affinity score wise also. So these are the sample output. I will not look into the detail of the WME3 because these are the lexicon part that we have tried to contribute. And initially the resources, the data sets were there, like we collected from the Semival 2015 data, then we collected from the clinical reports of different radiology, pathology, even medical corpus also. So in order to build our modules or the system level modules, there are three means we collected the data from this Semival, other resources, and so on, and we took the help of different medical experts also to tag them. Even with the WME also, we have assigned lot of annotated people, means the expert people, to annotate the data. And there are two data sets that we have totally separated, that is awesome dataset and web collected, these two data sets that were very much helpful to test the overall system, because we thought that this medical annotation system or tagging system is itself a very challenging task, and we should be so confident to give the accuracy or to system results, because for that purpose we took the training and test whatever from the Semival data, but the test part, that is test set 2 and 3, we kept it as it is, means there is no mix up of the training set with the test set, because this test set should be of different category, and these are of different type of text is also there, means awesome then web collected data sets are totally different from the training data that we have taken from the Semival. So whatever the results we have obtained is you can say sorry, much more domain specific. Not, you can say, cannot say that it is very much domain specific, because in that way we are trying to build a such kind of a generalization system so that it can be useful for other domains or other types of medical context also. So for that purpose we took the help of the other two datasets which are not as a part of the training. And for recommendation system also we could we followed the same principle. And there are some annotation guidelines we have provided the annotators before producing the or before preparing the data set, because they should be an expert in this category, otherwise it would have a different problems in case of medical diagnosis especially. And there are a lot of other guidelines also. So till now we have covered the resources and the modules also, resources only, but in terms of developing the modules, uh, we have developed 3 different modules: identification, categorization, and relationship, into in these 3 modules into a common hypothesis. So we'll see that what is the common hypothesis. Common hypothesis is the ensemble approach or ensemble approach, whatever you see. This is the common hypothesis that we have followed for the concept identification, as well as categorization, as well as the relationship extraction, but it's something different in relationship. So the idea wise, the thing is that if we have an input data set, it is collected from MedicineNet awesome and semi-well, as we have mentioned already. So we have two basic systems. One is an unsupervised system, and another is a supervised system. You know, I think you may have some idea about the unsupervised system. Means there is no hint of class labels are there, so we could take the help of some kind of a dictionaries or lexicon that we have prepared for WME. So that we have used in this module. And another is supervised module. Supervised module may take the help of the lexicon also, but if we do not use also the lexicon, it can extract some kind of a features from the text, and then we use some kind of a machine learning and deep learning features, deep learning classifiers to classify the medical context or medical entities. And finally, what we have observed is that we couldn't perform well either solely based on the unsupervised module or solely based on the supervised module. That's why we have decided to make it a merge module, because also the observation was there that some of the classifiers had performed in a very good sense in compared to the others. So the thing is that how to choose that classifier, that was a challenge to us during that course. And another problem is that even if we select the classifier also, the models or the modules, means some of the classifiers would select the unigram as a base choice, some of the classifiers selected the trigram as a base choice. So there is a kind of a choice of the language modeling, means unigram, bigram or trigram, which model should we consider, choice of the classifier, that SVM or LSTM or CRF, which classifier should we choose. And another interesting point was that the supervised module itself was not being improved without the help of the WME. So in order to do that, we have made some kind of a merge module, and also we propose some kind of an ensemble technique. Ensemble means we can take the benefits of the base classifiers, means which classifier at which level or for which language model, which classifier is the good one, we have chosen that classifier to produce the output. So in this regard, we have made the overall system. This is actually called the merge module. And merge module, the hypothesis is taken by the three components, that both for the identification as a category and relationship. And finally, we have produced the annotated corpus. So first is the identification system. So it's unsupervised, supervised, and merge module. So our task was to identify the medical concept and to isolate them from the non-medical counterparts. So in this regard, it is very difficult to identify the textual span of the medical context, whether 2 words, 3 words. So identifying the word sequence, how many word sequence should we consider? In this case, we took the help of the part of speech and WME to do that. Even we have taken the help of the language modeling part also. And in supervised module, we identified different level features like part of speech, similar sentiment words, polarity score, unigram, bigram, trigram, means all the means language modeling features we have identified. Then we have identified, and we have labeled each of the medical concept as like beginning, intermediate, and outside of their lexical scope, because we know that it is a kind of a sequence labeling problem, and we need, as it is a multi-word concept, so we need to assign the intermediate tags of those entities also. And we employed the name-based and conditional random field classifiers to identify the lexical scope. So the limitation was there that it was unable to identify more than trigrams of the medical concepts, means 4 gram and 5 gram it couldn't capture. And the merge module, the concept is that it works at 2 different levels. One is at the language model level, another is at the classifier level. So if the performance of the classifiers are not same, then only we'll consider the language modeling level. If classifiers results are good, means suppose there are 3 modules are there: unsupervised module, name base, and conditional random field, and we have seen that the performance of the, means average performance or average X score of the name base is much good with respect to other classifiers like CRF and unsupervised. We can directly will choose the name base. But if all of the classifiers perform equally well, then how to choose? Because maybe the CRF has identified unigram naive base has identified bigram and unsupervised model has identified a trigram, the same context, within the same context, they have identified three different medical entities, but all are the overlap in that sense. So in order to disambiguate their results, we have taken that if the classifier results are not equal, then we will choose the language modeling level, and we should prefer the language means trigram. Means trigram will be preferable than bigram, bigram will be preferable than unigram. So that is the main motivation of preparing the merge module, that if there is a trigram medical concept, our system should spot that first time. Then if there is no trigram medical concept exists, then it will go for the bigram, and if no bigram, then only unigram. So it should be in a priority basis. So language modeling is also a priority of this module. And in this order, we obtained a very satisfactory amount of results, because in that respect we have we could identify the ensemble result as well as the ensemble of the modules also, means language modules also. And if we see that more than trigrams, the performance was not means on that stage, but even in a trigram, if we see that the supervised module and the merge module itself is a very good in terms of identifying that. It is a 0.95 in that sense of F score. So regarding the validation part, we have validated in two different ways. One is the number of concepts with respect to the medical and non-medical counterparts, and another is the F measures with respect to the language modeling point of view. So first model, we have seen that the medical and non-medical distinguishment, all of the three modules performed equivalently okay. And in case of bigram and trigram, we have seen that unigram level, the performance means mostly the trigram level, the performance of the unsupervised module is bit less, rather than supervised and merged module could perform much in a very good sense. So more than trigram also, we have seen that the merge module performance is being improved. So these observations actually motivated us to go for the merge module and supervised merge module in that direction. And these are the sample output of this. And then in case of category assignment also, we have followed the similar principle. Like we have followed the same three modules and then merge module finally, and the output will be have taken the similar ground, that is if the classifier is given the 4 outputs at the same time, then we could choose that the best output only if it is given. So we have considered only 4 different classes here: disease, symptoms, drugs, human anatomy, sorry, 5: disease, symptom, drug, human anatomy, and miscellaneous medical terms. And we employed the WME here also. And the limitations were that it couldn't disambiguate some of the categories of the medical concept. But in case of supervised module, we took the feature vector of the medical concept. So along with the class level also, we have identified the features. We have trained the features in some kind of a need-based logistic regression classifiers. We have used different classifiers for that, and we took only if both the classifiers produce the same results in case of supervised module. Or maybe sometimes we have followed that if any of the classifiers produces any answer, then we could follow that. Similar limitations we have observed there also. It couldn't identify the symptoms and human anatomy categories. So for that purpose, we took the help of the merge module. So merge module, again, there are 3 classifiers and 4 diseases are there. 5 diseases are there. So in case of identification part, there were language models were there, but in case of classification, here the categorizations are there, means the category of the diseases are there, and we took the same hypothesis and principle to segregate the categories between the classifiers, because here we have also observed that the different classifiers are producing the same result sometimes in identifying or categorizing the medical terms. So in order to disambiguate the medical categories among the classifiers, we have chosen this algorithm. And the validation wise also, the March module outperformed all other two modules, that is unsupervised and supervised. So in this way, we have gone through the March module and we have seen that how it works well. You see that the human anatomy, the result is poor because that the data wise, the human anatomy were very less in the data set also. You can say that, okay, this is the kind of imbalanced data that are there. So it may be of that ground. But okay, however, but the performance is obviously means best for the March module always, which is close to the original. But there are some problems we have seen in these cases also. Like this is the sample output that of the categorization, that each of the medical concept is being categorized with their particular classes, means medical classes. But the thing is that we couldn't identify the relationships of these entities. So sometimes it identified in a overlap fashion also. So it was very difficult to segregate those parts. And sometimes the confusions were there between diseases. Like in case of disease and symptoms, the confusions were more. Like in case like we have seen that fever, this is a term which is a medical term. Sometimes it is occurred as a symptom, sometimes it is occurred as a disease. So it is very difficult to disambiguate such kind of medical terms and associate the medical categories to this to assign to these medical entities. So in this case, actually, there are a lot of confusions were present. So we tried to, in order to solve those kind of confusions, we took the help of the relationship extraction. So in order to start with the relationship between the medical concepts, we have identified that there may be a huge number of medical relations are possible, but it is very hard to identify that what type of relationship actually exists between the medical concept. So for the simplistic purpose, what we have identified is that we have identified some kind of a category wise relationship, like symptoms disease with drug category, then human anatomy with symptom disease category. The motivation that we have observed that the disease symptom category is much more prominent and much more useful also in terms of experiments, in terms of application also. So for that purpose, we have identified the disease category, symptoms category, drugs category, and sometimes drugs and disease symptoms category. Some of the categories, their relationships are much more. If we have identified some kind of a frequency analysis of the means category wise frequency analysis, and we have seen that okay, these categories were much more frequent rather than the others. So we have identified, okay, disease, drugs, symptoms, these are the most important category or most prominent category in terms of the medical context, and others can be of less in or means comparative perspective. And there are maybe other relations are possible. So we took the help of the another some kind of a relations, and we fine grained relations, like is a part of similar to this sort of relations also, to fine grain the coarse grain relations also. So two types of relations we considered to identify the relations between medical concept. One is coarse grain, another is fine grained. And if we see the examples carefully, so there are like how a drug helps to improve or cure side effects of the diseases or symptoms. And here is these are descriptions or the the explanations of the relationship. And this is the example that warfarin is also used to reduce the risk of clots causing strokes or heart attacks. So here's which drugs is reducing what. So there is some kind of a relationship between a cause of relationship between the drugs and the symptoms and diseases also. And in this way, we try to build the relationship taxonomy or relationship hierarchy also. And these are the some of the fine grained relationship. And this is the actually the fine grained relationship out of the coarse grained relationship. And this was the hypothesis, is that the disease there may be a self loop, because disease should be related with a disease, may be related with a disease may be related with a symptoms may be related with the symptoms, and there may be a kind of a one-to-one relation, sometimes maybe a kind of a multi-way relations also. So in this way we have prepared this kind of a hierarchy, or say kind of a graph to build the relationship between the medical entities. And we have seen that the miscellaneous medical terms, if there is no more assignment, then we try to make it as a miscellaneous term, and then we try to identify the relationship with the existing medical concept. So in order to do that, we have identified different patterns of the medical concept. So we have identified the linguistic inside linguistic patterns, and we have clustered those medical concepts based on the linguistic patterns. So here also we have identified that if the clusters are means sharing some kind of a common context, then we could merge those concepts, otherwise not. So this hypothesis is also similar in case of supervised, unsupervised, and merged module. And here the approach is that in the upper part there is a number of classifiers, and in the lower part we have identified the 8 different relationship, means course gain relationship, that is given here, that is drug with symptom disease, human anatomy with symptom disease, disease with symptoms, drugs with drugs, and so on. And if there is a kind of a 7 fine grained relationship also there, and we have given the priority to the relations if the classifiers outputs are different. So if the classifiers outputs are different, then we have taken the decisions based on the relationships between the categories of the relations, or the relation categories. So in this way we have obtained the merge module is performing very well, and we have identified the fine grained relationship also. And some of the sample outputs, means this is the final output of the system in terms of that if a piece of text is there, and the system will automatically identify the span of the text which is the medical term, then it will try to associate the category with each of the medical terms, and then finally tries to identify the relationship between the medical terms, and then it will give us this as an output. And all of this information is very much helpful to prepare a kind of a recommendation system. So because without identifying the medical concept, without categorizing them, without identifying the relationship between them, it was very difficult to build such kind of a full-fledged system. So in order to do that, we prepared a kind of a disease symptoms relational matrix. So in a kind of a matrix, we prepared which diseases are related to which symptoms. So we have proposed here 2 different approaches. One is the similar diseases or symptoms recommendation, that is called RSDS system, and another is called diseases or symptoms recommendation, that is RDS system. So we will see that how we have done this job, because if suppose we have a disease is there, so disease is represented in terms of its symptoms vector, means the disease, how many symptoms are associated there. We have identified this as a terms of symptoms vector of symptoms, and another disease is also represented as symptoms of vector of symptoms. So if these 2 diseases are equal, means equal or they are similar, then we could say that these 2 diseases are similar. Means we could easily identify the similarity between 2 diseases, and also the symptoms are also represented in terms of the disease vectors, and if there is a similarity between the symptoms, then we could easily cluster the diseases out of the symptoms. So in this way we have taken the Euclidean and Manhattan distances and different other measures also to do the things. So the idea wise it was like that. So there are 2 different approach. One is RDS, that is recommended diseases and symptoms, and another is RSDS, that is recommended similar disease and symptoms. So like similar disease and symptoms is possible when user is giving some kind of information, like if user is supplying some kind of a disease, it goes to the RSDS system. It tries to identify which are the similar symptoms available for this disease, or what are the similar diseases are available. Similarly, if a user is providing some kind of a symptom, so it will go again to the RSDS system. It tries to identify the similar symptoms, and it also tries to identify similar diseases having with this symptom. And what is the role of this RDS system, that is recommended disease symptoms? Here we are providing two or pair of diseases. If we give two pair of, or means a pair of diseases, it will definitely go to the RDS systems and it will identify the common symptoms between these diseases. Or if we give two or pair of symptoms, then it gives the common diseases of having this two pair of symptoms. So these are the two main hypotheses or logic, you can say, that is built to provide some kind of a recommendations to produce the similar diseases or similar symptoms, or symptoms related to disease or disease related to symptoms, and so on. So this is, it is totally based on the disease symptoms matrix prepared from our data set, and the similarity score is used here to decide that or to select the threshold, kind of a threshold, to how much disease or how many diseases we should produce as an output or not. And here also the same thing. So these are the some of the hypotheses that is there. And what is our observation is that Euclidean and Manhattan distance, as it is a content based approach, and it provides better output over Euclidean. Manhattan actually provides better output, and we need to means enrich our data set to produce the result. So up to this point, is there any kind of a questions? Then I follow the next part. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, any doubts, participant?
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes. Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, it means that the whole idea is to determine the sense of the word by using the lexicon. Is it right?
Yes.
So basically, sir, you are trying to determine the sense of these medical concepts or terms, and you are using the lexicon.
No.
Is that
Not only the lexicon.
the
Not
whole
only the
model?
no. The lexicon is there. We are taking the help of the machine learning classifiers. We have taken the help of the ensemble approach of the machine learning classifier to identify the medical concept, to categorize the medical concept, to identify the relationship between the medical concept, and finally, with the help of the lexicon and the classifiers, means the ensemble classifiers, we have tried to build the recommendation system.
Okay. So, sir, like in one of the slides, you have shown that you have used unsupervised as well as supervised approach. So, what I got from that slide is that you have some, like we can say, you have small amount of labeled data, um, and you are trying to find the labels in unsupervised setting, like in supervised setting you have the sense, you have the senses like in the form of labels, and so you are trying to use that small data in order to form the complete data set, annotated data set. So is it so like
Something different like
you
that. So originally, in order to start with, actually in WordNet for medical event, it was a very small amount of medical concept that we had at that time, and then
yes,
we
sir.
took the help of the other lexicon and the other classifiers to enrich the models. Fine. To enrich the
Yes, sir.
WME 2.0, 3.0, and so on. Then using the data set means using the existing data set like medicine net, helpline and other corpus, we have tried to extract the medical concept, but the problem was that we couldn't associate them in the lexicon because there is no gloss information is there, no kind of a sentiment information at present. Fine. So in order to do that, we took the help of those kind of a categorization, identification, relationship extraction system. And also we have tried to help of the sentiment identification systems like affinity score, gravity score, and associated them.
Yes.
As our data set, we took the help of the available data set, that is Semival 2015, Medicine Net, Healthline. All of these are our existing data sets. Means these are the state of the art data sets. These data sets are available. Okay. So what we did is that we have tried
Okay,
to
sir.
build a kind of a system to tag these data sets along with our class labels. Class labels that you have mentioned, that the 4 different categories, sorry, 5 different categories, and 3 levels of medical concept like unigram, bigram and trigram, and the relationships of 5 categories of relationship, and 8 categories of coarse grain relation, and 7 categories of fine grain relation. So each of these cases we have tagged this data set, and this is available also.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
So
sir.
after producing
That's it.
all
Thank you,
these-
sir.
yes, after producing all these data set, then we started developing this recommendation engine, because in that case the disease and symptoms, we have a huge amount of matrix for that, and we took the help of the latent semantic analysis, and we took the help of the
Yes, yes.
recommendation policies like content based recommendation policies to identify what are the similar diseases, what are the similar symptoms, how the symptoms are have the common diseases or diseases have the common symptoms, and like that. So there are 2 different aspects that we have covered, that is, one is from the user perspective and another is from the system's perspective. So system perspective, if 2 pair of means if a pair of disease or pair of symptoms are given, so the system will go for the RDS. System will choose the RDS module, and it will give the similar symptoms and similar diseases. And if the user is given disease and symptoms, then it will choose the RSDS system, and it produces the similar symptoms and similar diseases. Means it is only a single instance, and here we are giving the 2 diseases, and it can also identify the similar symptoms. And here we are assigning only, means here we are asking for the single disease, means symptoms of a single disease or disease of a single symptom. Okay. So
Okay, sir.
okay, so these are the overall observations, and I will just quickly cover the phase-based module, because here we have taken the help of the deep learning architecture, that is LSTM. Apart from the other classifiers like support vector machines, which are performing the other classifiers also, logistic regression, need base, KNN, random forest. So always we have used the Word2Vec embedding, because phase-based identification we have taken at prior before sending them into the classification, and we have tried with the LSTM model, and we have seen some kind of a good interesting results. If we go, then we can see that some kind of instances like here, that National Indian Association. So here the system is facing the problem like the phrase like medical phrase. So in that case, to disambiguate from the non-medical term, we took some kind of a phrase-based rules, and we took the help of the phrase-based rules like this one, rule 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, and we have calculated their support and confidence from the corpus, and then we have identified, okay, if we apply these rules, then we could sometimes we could reduce the types of the features and types of the features in terms of their popularity. That these rules actually is very much essential to identify some phrase label concept. And then finally we employed the LSTM classifier. LSTM, the long and short term memory. This is a deep learning classifier, and here we have used the 64 recurrent unit, and with a dropout value of 0.1, and we have measured the loss function also, and we have observed that LSTM is outperforming the other classifiers. So here also we tried to establish some ensemble algorithm, but we have observed that okay, ensemble algorithm is very much useful if we select different thresholds for different classifiers, and for that purpose we have taken the threshold value for different sets, and finally we come up with a kind of a joint model. This is our kernel of our classifier, that if we give the weightage of different classifiers based on our threshold, then the output is much more means good, rather than by assigning a same weight to all of the classifiers. So that's why we propose some kind of a weighted measures of the classifiers and then finally contributed. And we have studied over the some kind of feature ablation study like PCA and TSNE, and after that we have evaluated the system. So this is the GUI is available, and we are very much shortly to make it published, because here the associated members are Eric Cambe from NTU also. He wants to get it published a very quick manner, so we are in the process to make it public, so that people can use this system for their annotation, categorization, even the parsing also. And another important part that we have started working on, that is the healthcare assistant. Not much amount of work we did so far, so that's why I have prepared a few slides only for your purpose. Is that the chatbot assistant or the healthcare assistants are being much more popular nowadays, because in case of our COVID also we have seen that there is no doctor is available at that ground to help us. Even if we call the doctors also, they used to prescribe over the phone. So in point of view, in order to do that, we thought that whether we could build some kind of a agent for that, so that it can help us a bit. For that purpose, their conversational agents are becoming so popular. In the next few decades, I think they will be much more popular also. So the concept is that either the chatterbots are there, means in the different chatbots you may either very much engage with lot of entertainment purpose, but here we are not entertaining anything, but here we have prepared some kind of a dialogue based system, that we can communicate with the users by sharing our information, with some kind of information exchange in terms of some effective relationship between the users and the system, and so on. So here we are planning to build some kind of a dialogue system. We know that there are a lot of dialogue systems are also there, or chatbot systems are there. So starting from Eliza, Perry, Trindy, Nadia, and so on and CD also. So Aragya Setu is there, and I think this sort of tools are available in all of our apps and mobiles. So in that respect, what we have contributed is that we have taken a kind of a RASA framework to build the intent classification, that is the primal need of a particular person in terms of their queries. We have taken the help of the RASA framework to build a kind of a chatbot, and our module or our app is trying to develop or trying to focus on 3 different aspects which are not covered by the the available softwares or apps like Aragya Setu also. We cannot claim, but we could rather say we are on the process to make it much more popular, in that sense that it has 3 basic modules. One is No Corona, another is Help Desk, and another is Self-Assess module. So self-assess modules, I have not explained anything, because this module will always deal with the recommendation module that we have discussed so far. But apart from that, there are 2 other modules, that is No Corona and Help Desk, where in case of No Corona, we are trying to provide the general query informations with respect to the user's query. If the user has any query related to the COVID or their facts and so on, so this module or this chatbot or this dialogue system can easily answer these queries. And another part is that we have developed it only for the West Bengal, and we in the help desk part, what we are trying to plan is that we are trying to provide all of the local medicine shops that are available in this nearby, because during the emergency we always try to search the web that what are the nearby things are there, because if do not have enough information, if we are a visitor also in a new place, so it's very difficult for us to find it out. So in order to help them, we are trying to provide some kind of a Google database from them that it will provide the local medicine shops and local COVID designated government hospitals so that users can take the help of that. And we have, in case of corona, means query, no corona module, we took the approach of reverse clustering. Like in question answering, we know that if there are questions and users can give the answers, we took a different hypothesis for that. Means if the answers of the two questions are similar, means these two answers are quite similar to each other, then we clustered their related questions. What is the motivation of this? This motivation is that because whatever the problems that we have faced during development of this kind of app is that users are asking a lot of related questions or similar questions again and again. So in order to avoid that, or in order to make the users aware that you are asking the similar questions, or maybe the motivation is that we do not want to means we do not want to make such comments so that users will get offended. So in order to do that, we try to make them a good answer. So in order to provide the good answers, we have taken this reverse clustering policy. So we have tried to make the users busy in some kind of a fixed questions or fixed set of answers for them. So this is the one of the important aspects of that. So we have taken the help of the synonym based approach for them. If the two synonyms of the two questions are are more, then we have identified that clusters for that particular answer. And instead of clustering the answers, we have clustering the questions, so that if multiple users have thrown the same similar questions, it can be easily answered from the system. And this is the overall idea. That is the three different parts: self-assessment part that we have discussed through the recommendation engine, no corona part that is based on the QA system, that will be assisted by the healthcare, means the chatbot, and this is the help desk module, that there we are trying to provide the information either related to the nearby hospitals or to the nearby medicine shops. And this is actually part of our ongoing project, DST Serve project, Sevak. And based on this task, we have completed so far a chatbot of this kind, and I think it has been published in a book chapter also recently in Taylor and Francis. And we are now we are going on to that, and now in the conclusion part we can say that okay, we have tried our level best to prepare such kind of a system which should be useful to the public, I hope, because it is a part of the research work. So after a couple of few months, we try to release it so that people can use it, people can get the benefit of it, and people also will advise us or suggest us to get more improvement over the system also. Thank you. These are the some of the publications on the ongoing works on the WME, then concept identification systems, then categorization systems, then relationship extraction systems, and so on. Some of the recommendation systems and others on the chatbots and others. Thank you. Thank you. I guess I can stop here. And if I think there are questions are there, so you can ask. I should stop, I think. If the entire screen is visible, so I should see the face. I think.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, good evening, sir.
Yes, good evening. Very good.
Sir, is there your work is having any scope about developing any question answering system related to medical domain?
Yes, this no corona part is actually a question answering module. So till now we have only covered the to generate the similar answers or similar questions and like that. But maybe in futures we will try to develop this module in a much more fine-grained way also. We are planning for that.
So that means that question answering system only restricted for corona related diseases?
No, not, but for the time being, for the development of the corona app only, we have focused our concentration on the corona diseases only. But maybe in futures, this will be in general, means if we make a kind of a chatbot for the general medical queries also, so that it can be useful also, because this is an ongoing process and this is a vast process, you know. We should focus on some because urgent basis. So corona is an our emergency in that case. So we try to focus on that first, then we'll switch into some general domain. We'll plan first.
Thank you, sir.
anything. There is no questions because there are some participants I have seen. I guess. And so I think I have.
So any more question from the participants? So, sir, I think there are no more questions.
Okay,
Thank-
someone was trying to ping, I think. Oh no, no, no. Okay, then I. Okay, then.
Okay, then we will thank the speaker once more for a wonderful talk, and
Thank
for
you for
yes,
inviting me also again and convey my greetings to sir also, as you said.
very nice. Okay.
Okay. Because I'm not well actually. I couldn't say that no in terms of that.
Okay.
I have to do that.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you to participants also.
Okay. Fine.